Welcome to the BizBros podcast. My name is Kyle Nelson, and I have my co-hosts here, Eli, Libby, and Clint Payne. It's Halloween Eve. We're dressed up for you visual watchers out there.
Oh, yeah.
Eli looks like a mountain man with a full beard.
Yeah, exactly.
And today we have a very special guest, one of our very close friends from Seattle, Mr. Greg Bellinger. He's the founder of White Rabbit Group, which is a development web and mobile app company for creative studios and agencies.
Yeah, that's us.
Yes. Good morning, guys. How are you doing?
For agencies.
Yeah, stoked to have you here, man. We've been kind of looking forward to this day for a while.
Absolutely.
So stoked to have you in the studio.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Excited to meet the team.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've been telling you about it for a while, and it's great to have you meet everybody.
Yeah.
So let's jump on in. Let's kick this off by giving a little bit of background, Greg, who you are, kind of what you're working on as well.
Yeah, for sure. My story's pretty long, so I think to keep it short, I grew up in Pleasanton, California. So born in California, raised. Went to Reading after that, out of high school, and graduated from Shasta College. Went to Chico State, where we met each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And lived in Chico for 8 years, and started. I've kind of always been a hustler, and I've never really had like a job in the sense of like I've kind of created everything that I have and that I've always kind of done. So it's kind of always been my spirit. It's just kind of doing my own thing, and got into web development in 2008, started hard coding websites, and fell in love with just the creation of websites and just, writing code and turning that digital and bringing it to like an audience where the entire world through the click on their computer can access it, right? So
that's crazy.
I got a lot of inspiration from that. And then, the hustler side of me, hustler's kind of a weird word to use, but I instantly, I love selling. That's what I'm trying to get at. And so instantly started telling people that I sold websites, and the rest is history. And, I've kind of done a lot of things in the sense of sold websites. I've flipped cars. I've flipped promissory notes. I've, you
gotta make that dollar.
You name it, and I've kind of tried it, and I think dabbling in a little bit of everything. This kind of gets into me, like dabbling even in like what I do now. What I'm really good at is like a lot of different things. I've designed applications. I've also coded them. I know how to close the sale. I know how, the finance side really, really keeps me going. I really love just kind of what's the path on the finance side, and I get excited about that. So started White Rabbit Group after starting many companies and kind of Mike moved there. I went from too many things on my plate to all right. White Rabbit Group. Went all in with Abhilash. Him and I co-founded the company. He's in India. Did a couple flights out to India and really built a relationship with him in 2013, 2014. And we worked on Soul ID together, and that's why we flew out there. And then we started White Rabbit Group and went all in and saw a niche. This story could be very long.
This is good.
This is story sessions. You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
But, so I was always selling websites, and I saw this, I wouldn't say maybe niche, but I partnered up with a couple design creative people in their own studios. And I saw that they kept bringing work in. It was a really good relationship. It was fun working with them because they knew the industry. You didn't have to teach them what a domain is or hosting or anything like that. And so we built a company to service and build web and mobile apps for agencies. And so hired our first developer in January 2017 and have scaled it to 45 people now full time.
Jeez.
Everybody, and one thing we made that pivot because it was a pivot from Golden Leaf into White Rabbit, and one of the biggest things was making sure everybody's in-house. So we don't hire contractors, we don't hire third-party companies. Everybody's full-time, salaried, in-house. And we currently Yeah, we currently have an office in India, Kerala on the southern end. My wife and I got engaged out there, so we love Kerala, and we've got an amazing team out there. They're just phenomenal. It's taken us years to build the team we have. We're very picky about who we hire out there. And we have an office in Seattle. We just moved up to Seattle a couple years ago, moved our HQ up there, loving it. And we're also building a great team up there. And we have a partner in Sacramento. So we have a smaller office in Sacramento. And then we just opened up our first and hired our first employee in Bogota, Colombia.
Nice.
So we're moving into Colombia.
That's awesome.
And
Bogota.
yeah, just having a lot of fun.
Good.
Loving the team that we're building and working with some amazing companies.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some big brands, Microsoft, just name drop one of many. A lot of things we can't talk about because it's white labeled. But yeah, building a very technical team and yeah.
It's awesome.
So I mean, over a short span of time, you grew a team pretty quickly to 45. I mean, over a few years, that's pretty quick growth compared to most
Absolutely
small to mid-sized development companies.
Well, last year we started with 13, so now we're at 45. So
yeah, I mean,
it's in less than 2 years. Yeah.
Where do you think the majority
growth.
of that growth sparked from? Like, why did it jump so quickly? Why did it kind of catch fire?
Demand.
Yeah.
I think so we kind of have this thing we're building a team that the world is gravitating towards, and it's kind of true. We're we kind of we have an amazing team, and through the team, the world just wants to work with us. The more people we work with, they just they see something different in us in the way that we work and we operate. We're mainly a team of developers, but I think the stereotype of a regular developer is not necessarily like our team. And so we can't keep right now. Our biggest problem is hiring. We have 12 open positions. We can't keep up with demand, and that's our biggest problem. And and it's just gravitating towards us. So the biggest thing in growth is, we build web and mobile apps, which every single company needs to be on the web, right?
Yeah.
And we service a space that's pretty big, and then on top of that, it's just nonstop work.
Wow. That's awesome.
We're trying to keep up.
Yeah, totally.
So, like we said, quick growth, where I was going with that was, what were some of the biggest pain points that you've been seeing in the past year and a half with having to grow a team from 13 to, now you're looking at almost 60 people with all the openings?
Yeah, it's hiring. It's the biggest
hiring.
struggle. And then you look at me like somebody who's, I've never been in a big corporation. So learning along the way. And a big part of our culture is learning and being the best version that you can be. If you look back 6 months on yourself, you want to say, wow, I've grown a lot. I've learned so much. We kind of build that culture within our company. But yeah, it's hiring. It's been the biggest struggle. Number one, hands down, nothing comes close because everything else is doing well. But we just can't keep up with demand. And then hiring the right people.
I was gonna say,
making sure they're a good fit.
You're pretty I wouldn't say picky, but you're pretty picky with who jumps on the team in terms of culture, their knowledge, making sure it's just a good fit overall when it comes to talking to clients and all that.
For sure, we're very, very picky, and we have a certain standard, and we want to hit that. So,
which I think attributes to the success of White Rabbit
100%.
today. You've been very selective on who you hire, and as a result of that, I think you've been able to develop the culture that you want and keep those standards of quality for your clients, and they obviously see that. So
I got a good question. Being a global company, you got people working all over the place. You're 24/7. You got people working, typing, banging keyboards 24/7. How does the communication flow with that? How are you able to keep everybody on the same path and conversate and make sure that everything's being communicated effectively?
Technologies, Slack. We follow, agile, waterfall, and set up Kanban boards, and we use Teamwork right now to keep everything organized, and that's where all the work happens. Through Slack and Teamwork and Zoom, and we stay pretty organized. And then we also have, kickoff meetings, and those will happen. Our project managers will kick those off. It's all about processes and I've been working with India and overseas teams, which is a totally different time zone since the beginning,
Right.
2009, 2010. And I think, I've somewhat perfected myself in the sense of how to communicate, how to set up a task and make sure they really get it. You have to be really black and white at sometimes. And then trying to get that into the team that we've built. But we really rely on the software. I mean, that's what keeps it all together.
Yeah.
And Zoom calls. And we're really big on communication, open communication.
Yeah, you gotta be.
Yeah.
So a lot of like development companies, maybe not new age, maybe old age. So people who are just doing websites, that's all they do, compared to the guys like you who are doing like mobile apps, like full applications, everything across the board. They're not very business savvy, business oriented, like business goal. They're just like, hey, we're going to take a project and turn it into something, but we don't know what that something is. So with White Rabbit, you guys do it all, right? Like you guys understand like the business, you guys understand the development, plus you are a growing team who's like in tune with what is going to help them 5 years from now for their $50,000 investment. So how do you think that as like technology grows, where do you guys see yourselves like fitting in that kind of bucket of like, you're with the times now, you're kind of building for the future, you probably are, but where do you guys see it just on like a growth as well as like bringing different people on and different technologies?
Yeah, the future for us is in the more complex builds, custom web apps, custom mobile apps, figuring out, for like a large organization, if they have this problem of maybe things getting connected, whether it's with like on the HR side or maybe on the sales side with CRM, and there's no out-of-box solution, and that's where we'll step in and build a custom solution and connect the dots. And so I think on the complex side, that's where we're going to go, and that's going to be our space, because you have things like Webflow, which are really taking off, and they have their space, and we're not a company that's going to build a site for 5 or 10K like either. We're just not that. We're here to solve complex solutions and provide more of the top tier quality. So that'll translate into other technologies. So obviously that's web based, and then AI and machine learning and all that is a space we haven't even really touched yet, but that'll be kind of the next leap as well.
Yeah. Do you think what's the reason behind Colombia, and why Colombia as your satellite office number 3?
So Colombia, we've been looking at Latin America for a couple of years. I flew out to Costa Rica last year, and we honed in on Colombia because they have 50 million people. They have a lot of people. It's up and coming.
Was that big?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. third largest in Latin America. I think Mexico, Brazil, and Colombia are the top 3. And they're up and coming. They're becoming more stable. I think 10 years ago, a lot of people would have thought you were crazy to try to open up an office in Colombia from being an American company. And there's a lot of amazing talent down there. We just hired our first one, and he's phenomenal. Really excited about him to be on the team. And why Latin America then, or why that is, we want to build our global presence. We want to have on time zone support, and just continue to build an amazing team. It's a little bit cheaper down there, but that's not the top reason.
Yeah.
It's really kind of global presence, and Colombia's got amazing talent. So
that's awesome.
That's crazy.
I have a question in regards to a little bit. I
got something even crazier. I've never even been to Colombia. I don't even speak Spanish. And
should we get you some?
But nothing's slowing us down. Like
some Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, I can tell. Like as we build the team down there, I'm probably gonna get a lot of what's another word? I don't want to say the
kickback, not kickback. I see what you're saying.
Pushback.
Pushback. Yeah.
Pushback. Anyways,
I get you.
Yeah, I mean, if it weren't for COVID, I would have flown down there, I would have checked out spaces, would have met people in person, but you can't go down there, and we're not going to let that slow us down right now.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Do you have anybody on the team who speaks habla español?
No,
No?
not one.
Well,
we have one now.
Yeah,
He's in Colombia.
Yeah.
Hey, nice.
So
we should get him Rosetta Stone.
So, Greg, you talk a lot about culture. I'm sure you talk about it a lot. You talk about how the front-facing aspect of your company and your clients actually realize that there's a culture, and it's different than the normal development company. What are some ways that our listeners, being that it is mostly a remote environment nowadays, what is the way, and how have you been successful in building culture in two different countries and keeping that together? I think that's something that you do really good. And I was up at your house last weekend, and I watched, like, you guys are even doing like virtual lunches and things like that, and I can see the team. They're there and they're excited to be there. What are some things you can give the listeners in terms of culture?
Well, there's no one culture that fits everybody, so you have to kind of build your own culture and what the people that you're hiring for really want in their lives as well, because not one culture fits everybody. We're building a culture that is very, like, one word that you can think of as like family. It's very tight. And then when you span it across, like, on the India side and then state side, which are two totally different cultures. I think just through open communication, and it's hard for me to pinpoint or try to provide advice exactly like this is what you need to do in order to do that, because it's also like a feel.
Totally.
And it's how I communicate with people. It's how other team members communicate with each other. But we do care a lot about our culture and what we're building. And it's something that as we grow, we're going to have to really keep an eye on. I think with a smaller team, it's a little bit easier because just through normal calls and all that, you can really get kind of the pulse of the culture. But right now we're hiring head of HR. Is a really important role that we're hiring for, and it's really because for our next leap is to keep everything intact with what we want and to build the community that we want and the culture for our team.
That's awesome.
But
are you guys getting to the point where you guys talk to everybody? Like, does everybody talk to everybody at some point in like a week's span, or is it more of like a month span? Like, at some point I'll talk to whatever any of your guys' names are.
Like me, or what do you mean?
Like so throughout like a project and like how it's working, and then obviously just like catching up with somebody on a team. Is there a point at which you guys talk at least once a week to everybody? Like, does everybody kind of communicate on like a week's level, or every couple weeks, or?
No, I don't know. Not really. I think there's some people on the team that have never talked to each other, but maybe once.
Yeah.
There's a couple people on the team that I've only talked to really once, and that was the final round interview. And that's because we're moving pretty fast right now too.
Growing.
It's crazy how many things are going on and how busy we are. And even our project managers are kind of stretched right now. Just kind of a plug, any TPMs in the Seattle area, we're looking, and we're moving fast. But we do all hands meetings. We're actually increasing the frequency. We're going to be doing those every month, starting next week. Next Wednesday is going to be our another all hands, and
That's cool. How do you guys see just with growth, global, Colombia, Sacramento, Seattle, India, 4 locations, up to 60 people, probably by 2021, I'm assuming. What's the number is there a number of people that is going to make White Rabbit work on a global scale that you estimate, or does it take more of filling 20 people in Seattle, 20 people in Colombia, 20 people in Sac? Where do you see it on that?
We really care about the culture and the experience that we're giving to our clients and the overall experience throughout the entire company for our employees too, our clients, and the experience that people feel when they just look at the brand too. What was your question again?
Just
I was going on a
like
roll and then it just-
there's some like an Apple store. Like an Apple store takes 20, 40 people to make the Apple store work.
I remember the question.
Yeah.
So our goal is 125, and I think we can hit it in about 2.5 years, 2.5 years. And I was kind of saying all those things because I don't want to build a 500 person company. I want to build a sizable team that can make an impact on the world. We want to be known globally, and we're heading that way. And 125 is kind of that next leap and next marker for us. So
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. Is the rabbit going to stick around?
what do you mean?
The brand?
Of course.
Yeah.
White Rabbit always.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I see the plug too.
No,
Yeah, if you guys-
we won't. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, the White Rabbit brand is it's 10. I love it,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah.
that's even hard to put into
Strong.
words. It's I think it has to do with some of our success too. I think branding is huge. I think for us as a group that we're part of Soul ID, I think we understood that, and White Rabbit and the brand itself it's got its single eye on the world, man, and yeah, we're gonna continue to build the brand for sure.
Yeah. That's cool.
Well, sweet, man. Probably gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. Any last plugs about White Rabbit? Any if there was anyone out there listening that you want to try to get connected with? We have a very large audience, a lot of people listening.
Yeah.
Anything you want to plug about White Rabbit? Where they could find you?
Yeah, whiterabbit.group.
Oh.
Check us out. We're a phenomenal team. We're building a great team, and again, we service agencies and creative studios. Those are our clients, and most of the time kind of white labeled under their brand. But any agencies, anything out there really looking for a good team as kind of their technical backbone. The thing with a lot of agencies, they're founded on they're creative people, marketing people, and so we plug really well. And even some agencies, they might have their own small development team, but they'll come to us for more of the technical stuff, whether it's like a mobile app or big web app, and so yeah, we're here to support and yeah.
All right.
Love
you
it.
guys heard
Yeah.
it. Well, Greg, we appreciate you coming on to the BizBros podcast. That was an awesome conversation.
Yeah, you guys are
Letting
legit.
everyone learn a little bit more about White Rabbit. And if you haven't yet, make sure to go to Instagram page @biz.bros. Follow that page and hit us up on YouTube and listen to our podcast in any podcast marketplace. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.